welcome to a new episode of the Bobbles Berries Podcast. If you're new here, my name is Ode and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland. I've got just a regular podcast episode for you today. I've got some finished objects to show you that I was working on last time. I have some whips, one that is still a carryover from last time, and then two new ones. And then this month I went to Dublin for a weekend, and so I bought some yarn there, and I will show you that in the acquisition section towards the end. Just before we get into the podcast, I'm going to start in the usual way with a little bit of admin. So like I said, if you're new here, my name is Ode and I am the person behind Bobbles Berries, which is a small shop where I make hand embroidered stitch markers. And as of me publishing this podcast, I have a shop update going live, which means that the shop is open for you to order stitch markers if you want to do so. A couple of things regarding this particular shop update. So it will be my second to last one of the year. I will do a final one towards the end of November, maybe early December, and then I will take a break for Christmas. If you would like stitch markers for Christmas, if you want them to use in December, if you want them to gift as Christmas presents, I would recommend shopping this shop update, the one that's open right now, as opposed to the next one, just to make sure it gets to you in time, especially if you're abroad. I guess if you're in the UK, there's less of a risk that it's not going to arrive in time, but if you're abroad, yeah. So just putting the information out there. Shop update is live. If you want stuff for Christmas, it's probably like ordering now is probably your safest bet, just to make sure that things arrive on time. That's it. All right, so that's all about the shop. I'm just going to go straight into the podcast, and I'm going to start with a couple of finished objects which I had on my needles last time. One is a pair of mittens and one is a pair of socks. I have them here, and I'm going to start with the mittens. Oh no, maybe I should start with what I'm wearing. So what I'm wearing is the Dropp Pullover by Ailbiona McLaughlin. It is, I'll leave a link in the description box below, as always. It is a kind of like a drop shoulder kind of construction, but it's all knit in around. It is a sweater that I made a few years ago now, like maybe 3 years at least. And I wear it all the time. I believe I knit it with, I think it was so it's holding 3 strands together. I think it was 2 strands of woolly knit British wool. It was a cone in, I don't remember the name of the color, dark blue, navy possibly. And then 1 strand of hand-dyed lace weight from the cami yarn, which they don't make anymore. But yeah, and it gave me that really nice marled effect. So yeah, I really like it. I wear it all the time. I like the color, I like the fit. I didn't make it as oversized as the pattern recommended, just because at the time I thought I didn't really like that super oversized look. But I could definitely see myself making another one and making it more to pattern in terms of fit. But yeah, still, I really like this one and I wear it all the time. And yeah, it's one of my favorite jumpers that I've ever knit. But yeah, anyway, so the finished objects that I was talking about, the first one, the first one is a pair of mittens, and I was knitting on them the last time I recorded. I think I had one mitten almost finished, and I hadn't started the other one. I don't remember, but now they're both done, and they're the Hiedra mittens by Fibertales, and this is what they look like. I'm going to put them on because the fit is actually really, really good. Just give me a second. It's all in blue today. The yarn that I'm using is Wee County Yarn Kinross 4-ply in the shade Scots Spine. It's a Scottish yarn dyer, and the wool comes from Scotland as well, I think. And it is incredibly soft, especially after you wash it. And did I say that already? The shade is Scots Spine. I think maybe I said that already. But yeah, and so it's a fingering weight, but I'm using it held double because the pattern calls for like a DK worsted weight, and it worked fine. And so this is what it looks like. So it's the kind of mitten that you can unroll like this to, I don't know if it's really cold for your fingers, and then you can fold it back like that. I think I'll probably wear them mostly folded that way because I don't know if I'm cold, I can just stick my hands in my pocket. But yeah, so it has this really, so it comes as a set. I mean, you can buy the two patterns separately, but it comes as a set with the headband, which I'd made before. This is my second one, I really like it. And so I really wanted to have the full set in this specific yarn. But yeah, it's a lovely design. So you knit it just the way you knit a mitten. So from the bottom up, and then you have, this is a nice cable detail. So it is cables when you knit them. And then the braids here is like that signature design element from Fibertales where you basically knit regular knit stitches, and then when you reach the top here you unravel them and then braid them back up with a crochet hook, which sounds a bit scary, but it's really not. It started raining and it's raining against the window, which is really nice. I like it. But yeah, so this is what they look like. On the pattern I made one modification, and it's that on the pattern this side of the hand is supposed to be garter stitch. I didn't really like the look of it, and I thought that garter stitch is maybe not as dense as stockinette stitch, and I was worried that it was not going to be as warm. I don't know, maybe I'm just making this up, but that was kind of my logic. And also, even though the hand is garter stitch, the thumb on the pattern is stockinette, and I just thought the texture change didn't, I don't know, it wasn't really to my taste. I enjoyed having it all in stockinette stitch. And so what I did is that here on either side, here and here, these are supposed to be garter stitch as well, but I just did like purl stitches so it would help define the texture of the braids and the cable. So it's a really easy modification. I didn't change the stitch count or anything like that, which I think is probably why my gauge was quite a bit off, to the point that technically I should have knit the smallest size, which I think is for small medium. That's what fit that's what went with my hand measurement. And I started doing this, but it was just way, way too small. It was way too tight and it was way too short. And so I could either have gone up a needle size or knit the larger size. And so I decided to knit the larger size, and it fits perfectly. So yeah. And I wonder if probably my gauge already was a bit off. I didn't swatch. And also changing the stitch pattern on the inside of the hand probably messed it up a bit as well, because garter stitch is more stretchy than stockinette stitch. So yeah. Anyway, I'm really, really pleased with them. I think they're just really, really beautiful. I absolutely love that color. And I think I'll be wearing them loads once it gets cold enough. It's gotten quite cold, but not like mitten weather cold just yet. But yeah, I really love them. And that's all I have to say about them. So I'm going to move on. I'm really glad I have the set as well. I think it's such a beautiful set. Oh, one last thing is that I had 200 grams of yarn. So that yarn comes in 50-gram hanks. I had 200 grams, and I bought it with the purpose of making that. I have a full 100 grams left. So that took me just a little bit under 100 grams of fingering weight yarn held double, which is great. That wasn't intended that way. So now I need to figure out what to do with the remaining yarn. I'm thinking I would like to use it all up. I don't really want to have leftovers, so I'm thinking of doing maybe like a Sophie scarf where I just keep going so that I can use the whole like skein or like all of the yarn that I have left. And I will make a set of a headband, some mittens, and a matching like little scarf, which I think would be quite nice. So yeah, I think that's what I might do. Unless if you have recommendations for how to use 100 grams of fingering weight yarn, like those one skein kind of little shawls or scarves or things, I would love to hear your recommendations, and I might look into doing something maybe a bit different from a Sophie scarf. We'll see, because I'm also already making I already have a Sophie scarf, and I'm making a Sophie Hood right now, which I'll show you later. So maybe something a bit different would be nice. So yeah, if you have any pattern recommendations for 100 grams of like a one skein of fingering weight kind of thing, I would love to hear those. My second finished object, I was also already knitting on those last time I recorded, and it's a pair of socks that I made for my mom, and this is what they look like. I didn't want to stretch them out, so I didn't block them. I let them dry flat like this. I didn't put them on sock blocker. And this is just a pair of vanilla socks, very simple. I used for this a skein of Annfield Farms. Oh, we have a kitty. Hello. All right, hi. Have you come to say hello to the podcast? Here, do you want to come and say hello? Hi, this is Luna. Yes, hi, okay. She likes to sit like this, but that's going to make recording the podcast a little bit difficult. What are we going to do, my bean? All right, do you want to jump off? Or are you going to meow the whole time? I don't know if you can hear her purr, but she's really purring. I don't know if you can see. All right. How about you jump off? Good girl. All right, so yes, so the yarn that I'm using is Annfield Farm Mohair 4-ply. I think it's a fingering weight, and it's made of 70% mohair and 30% Shetland wool, so it is a non-superwash natural sock yarn. I have used this yarn for myself. I have used the DK version, and they've held up really, really well. And so I thought my mom had asked for a couple of pairs of socks, and I thought she would enjoy this. So yeah, that's just your basic vanilla sock. I have to say the fingering weight version was a bit stringy. I don't remember having had this issue with the DK weight. I don't know if it's just spun differently or anything like that, but I feel like the stitches are not the most even. I also knit those on 2.25, which is what I usually do for my natural socks, like when I use natural sock yarn, because they tend to be a bit thicker. So like this one said it was 350 meters to 100 grams, but it felt really thin. It almost felt like a light fingering weight, so I don't really know what the deal was. Hi. Hello. Yes, hello. And so yeah, so I don't know if it was me or if it was the yarn. I kind of want to say it was the yarn, because I'm currently knitting another pair of socks and I don't have this like unevenness issue, but they're still very soft, still very warm, and I'm sure they'll be worn and loved regardless. So yeah, that's all I have to say. It's just a pair of vanilla sock in a really nice yarn, and yeah, I'm gonna move on. So that was all of my that was all of my finished objects, and I'm now going to move on to my work in progress. But I'm going to see if the cat wants to go and have a nap somewhere, because otherwise she's going to be, I guess that's a no. She's going to be chatting the whole episode, and it's going to be very distracting. All right, hopefully she's settled into one of her beds and we'll go for a nap now. But yeah, she's very cute, and she doesn't like it when a door is closed and she can hear us speak, like talk behind the door. So I've left the door open, and I thought that would be enough. But no, she still had to come and pay us a little visit. So yes, that was Luna, the cat. I'm going to move on to my finished up, not my finished object, my works in progress. And I'm going to start with one that I was working on last time already, which is my Lento sweater. So I'm keeping it in my beautiful bag from Wildwood Stitches. They're my absolute favorite bag. They're the only ones that I use pretty much. And yeah, so this is my Lento sweater. Did I say that already? I'm a bit tired today, so I find it a bit difficult to focus. But yeah, so it is the Lento by, I'm just going to show you quickly, but I'll go into more detail. By Jonna Hietala from Liner magazine. It's this one. This is number 11, summer 2021. And it was quite a popular pattern, and I think there was a knit along when the book came out. It's just your basic raglan sweater, which makes it really nice and easy and mindless, which is what I was looking for at the time. I just wanted something simple. I did make my life a little bit more complicated because I am holding 2 strands of yarn. Where is the pattern? I can't find it. I'm holding 2 strands of yarn held together, so I have to make sure that I always catch both. But that's as complicated as it gets. Page 86. There we go. So that's what it looks like. It's really a basic raglan sweater. It's knit at quite a loose gauge because I think in the pattern it suggests using a 1 strand of fingering weight and 1 strand of mohair on 6mm needles. And I've made one in the past, and this is kind of what I did, although I went down in needle sizes just a bit because I thought it was too, the gauge was too loose for my taste. In this case, I wanted to make that sweater because I thought it would be a good way for me to use up a cone of yarn that I've had for a long time and that I haven't really known what to do with it. This is this bright red cone of, I think it looks a bit more orange on the screen, but it is this bright red cone of Ailbiona wool. This is a cone of worsted weight yarn. So I have this is the label that was around the cone. And so I have 800 meters to 500 grams, and the shade is post box because it is literally the color of the post boxes in the UK. It is definitely a bit cooler. Can I put it somewhere? No, I don't know. It looks quite warm on my screen. It is not as warm as that. And so I swatched with just this, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the texture or the stitch definition or whatever. I thought it was still a bit too loose in terms of gauge. So I thought I would hold a mohair with it to kind of fill in the gaps and make it a bit warmer and a bit more fluffy. And so I got, I really struggled to find the perfect match, and I don't think I did in the end. But I got this mohair from, hold on, if I hold it upside, right side up, that would be easier. This mohair from Hiedra, and it is quite a bit cooler than this, which I guess you can't see. It is a bit cooler than the cone, but the mohair on its own to me is a bit too cool of a red. this is maybe a bit too warm of a red, but together they're actually the perfect color for me. So I'm really, really pleased with that. And I think the last time I just finished the short rows maybe, or I just started it really. And so I have made some progress on it. Right now I have split for the sleeves and I am on the body, which is a bit awkward to show at this stage, but I really like how it's looking. I'm hoping to have it finished by next time. It is my main project at the moment. And yeah, again, a very, very simple, very basic raglan sweater. I'm making the second size. I am knitting it on 6mm needles this time. And I think it will have like a really nice oversized look, which is what I'm looking for this time around. The last time I made it, I just wanted something that fit kind of normal, like not fitted, but not super oversized, just like a basic fit, I guess. For this one, I wanted something a bit more oversized, and I think I've got it. I should measure now that I have it on a longer cable just to show you, but I might take advantage of that to measure the chest circumference on this one compared to my other one to see, but I think it is quite a bit bigger. I wasn't entirely sure when I started that I would have enough yarn, that my 800 meters of Aran weight yarn would be enough, but I think I'm fine because so the Mohair is 212 meters per ball, and so I have like more or less the same amount of each, and I just got into my second ball of Mohair just before joining like for the like joining in the round after the sleeves. So I think I should be okay. I'm gonna knit the body for a little while longer, and then I'm gonna go and do the sleeves, because I really would like sleeves that come like nice and cozy, oversized kind of sleeves, so that come maybe to here on my hand. And so I really want to prioritize that. And then the length of the body will be what it is. It won't be cropped. I'm pretty sure I have enough yarn for it not to be cropped, but I would rather have it maybe a little bit shorter than what I would like, but have proper long sleeves than the other way around. So that's my plan. But right now I'm just going to knit a little bit more on the body just to have, I don't know, also make it easier to like try it on and things like that. So yeah, so that's my Lento sweater, my red one, and I really, really like it. And I think I was mentioning last time that I was a bit concerned because the increases on this, usually when you do a raglan, it's often make one left and make one right that you do for increases. And this one is knit front and back, and I thought it wasn't the tidiest thing, like it wasn't the very neat looking or anything. And I was a bit concerned about that at first, but now that I've finished the raglan increases, I think it looks just fine. Like it has its own look and it's like cohesive or whatever. I think it works. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. I don't mind. I should maybe write a note to myself if I want to make it again, to maybe swap for make one right and make one left, because I do like the look of that better. But yeah, I'm very happy with how this one is turning out. I think that's all I have to say about it. Again, like just a raglan sweater, which is really what I felt like knitting at the moment. I just finished my Dagmar sweater, which is a lot of cables and everything. So I just wanted something nice and basic, and I'm very happy with this, and I'm really enjoying knitting on this. So yes. All right, I'm going to move on to my second finished object. I think, oh, Jesus Christ, finished objects. I keep saying finished objects. Work in progress. The next two, I hadn't started them in the last episode. I don't even think that I had the thought of starting them when I last recorded, so they're really, really new. One is the Sophie scarf I mentioned earlier, that I was working on that right now. And no, not the Sophie scarf, the Sophie Hood. Oh, I'm really all over the place today. I'm really sorry. And this is what it looks like. So I started it a few days ago. And this is what it looks like. I have this beautiful green yarn with lots of tweedy bits that are, I guess, yellow or a different shade of green maybe, and a rust and a dark blue. This is all I've knit so far, so it's not a lot, but I'm really enjoying it. It's just one strand. It's garter stitch, which I will say I prefer knitting in stockinette than in garter stitch, but I don't mind it when the project calls for it. And the yarn that I am using for it is yarn that I bought in Dublin when I was away on my trip. And I bought this yarn at This Is Knit, which is, I think it's the only yarn shop in Dublin, but if it's not, it's still the best known, and it's a lovely shop. I went there a few years ago on another trip to Dublin, and in between then and now, they have redone the whole shop, and it's really lovely, and yeah, it was a wonderful time. So I bought this yarn there, and this is Studio Donegal Wool Spinning Company. So I used a soft Donegal one for my Dagmar sweater that I was talking about in my last episode. This is a different base, and it is 200 meters to 100 grams. Recommended needles 4 millimeters, and yeah, that's the label. So I bought 3 skeins of that. I'm making the second size of the Sophie Hood. There's 3. Originally, I thought I would make the third size, the bigger one, but then I think I would have had to buy an extra skein of yarn and maybe not barely use any of it or something like that. So I decided to go for the second size, which I think is big enough, really. And so yeah, I picked it in this color. I have the other 2 skeins on my shelf behind me. I think it's a really beautiful green. I absolutely love it. I fell in love with it in the store, and then the whole day I just spent the rest of the day just staring at it and taking it out of my bag and looking at it in different lights, and I love it so much. I think it'll suit me, that kind of color. My husband says green tends to suit me quite well, so yeah. That's really all I have to say. I just started it, so I don't have much to say. Right now, it starts like a Sophie scarf. You know, there's nothing really complicated about it. You do have to keep track of your increases, but other than that, it's really not difficult. And right now, I'm just waiting. I haven't swatched, so, and I need to check my gauge because I don't know how it compares to Petite Knit's pattern. It is a Petite Knit pattern, which you probably know anyway. And so I'm just knitting until I have the same, the width that I'm supposed to have, and then I'll go back to the pattern to follow the instruction for the actual hood part of it, and then we'll just do the same the other way around. So instead of increasing, I will decrease, and I will have a beautiful hood for the winter. So yeah, I'll show you the yarn one more time. It's just so nice. It's so pretty. I love it. And yeah, that is the Sophie Hood. I don't know if I will have it finished by the next time I podcast, because I kind of want to prioritize my Lento sweater, my red sweater, because then I would like to get started on a zipper sweater that I'm making for my husband for Christmas. But it's an easy, mindless project, so it's nice. And it's small, so it's nice. It has, moments when that's the kind of thing that you want to do. So yes, so that is my Sophie Hood, and that's another one of my Wildwood Stitches bags. That's the medium size, the shawl size. And then last but not least, my third whip, again, in one of my Wildwood Stitches. I'm not sponsored, I promise you. It's just they're really, really, really nice. They're absolutely my favorite, and that's all I use. And I'm probably going to buy another big one soon, because for some reason, I never have two garments on the go, 2 big projects, but for some reason, I feel like I always need 2 large bags, so I might get myself another large bag soon. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and just move on to my last work in progress, which is a pair of socks. And the yarn I'm using, just because I have the label in my hand now, is by Giddy yarns. And it's their 75/25 your basic superwash merino nylon sock yarn base in the colorway The Tale of Jeremy Fisher. So Helen, who is the person, the dyer behind Giddy yarn, her whole thing is that her colorways are based on books and stories, which I love. And I think it was maybe a couple of years ago she did like a whole collection on inspired by Beatrix Potter's story. And I bought a sock set of The Tale of Jeremy Fisher. And what I really like is that she offers the sock sets either as with a main skein of 100 grams or a main skein of 50 grams. And I like to buy the one that's 50 grams because I do get a pair of socks out of that. And I don't really have much left over, as opposed to if I use a sock set with the 100 grams as the main skein, I have at least half of it, if not more, left. And then I don't know, I don't always want to make another pair of socks with the same yarn, and so it just like ends up lying around and I don't know what to do with it and all that. So I really appreciate that there's the option to buy like a smaller sock set that fits. So that's the label, lovely and colorful. And that is the socks with the yarn. So like I said, it's a 50 gram main skein and a 20 gram mini. And this is what it looks like. And I absolutely love it. And yes, it is purple. And yes, I have said since I started this podcast that purple is not my color, but for socks, I kind of like it. So go figure. Yeah, this is what it looks like as. I love the color of the main skein. It's so pretty. So pretty. So this is sock number 1. So I've made the cuff, the leg, the heel. I've just finished the gusset decreases, so I'm on the foot now. And then the other one, I have just, tangles. I have just finished the heel. And I'm waiting to finish the leg on the first one to get the yarn and to be able to attach it to my second sock. So yeah, so it's just, again, it's just a basic vanilla sock. I don't know what it is about Giddy yarn, sock yarn, but I've used it before. I have a couple of pairs of socks already. I've made a pair of socks for my husband and he's super hard wearing on his socks. And it's held up so well, like really well. So yeah, to me, the quality is always so good. And I just don't know what it is because I think the base that she uses, a lot of other yarn dyers buy it from the same place. I don't know, but they're the absolute best. I really love them. And again, so basic vanilla socks. So this here, I did a 2x2 rib for, I believe I do 15 rounds. I'm working on 2.5 millimeter needles when I use superwash sock yarn. And then I do 50 rounds for the leg, heel flap and gusset with a little bit of garter stitch on the edge here, so it makes it easier to pick up your stitches afterward. And, gusset decreases, and then I will do a round toe when I reach the end. Something that I am super pleased about is my heel turn. So if you've been here for a while, you know that I'm always have been struggling with my heel turn not rowing out. It's always a mess, which it's not a big deal because it's under the heel. And I've also noticed that with wear, the stitches kind of even themselves out, or it kind of felt a little bit, so it doesn't matter. But for me personally, I was getting a bit frustrated that I couldn't get my heel turns to look neat. And so I've tried so many things of like decreasing, so not using the same size needle for purling, and then of switching to, instead of doing it on my small circular like I'm doing here, of doing it on with like a magic loop kind of needle, or of using DPNs, and it was not working. And then by some miracle this time it worked. I think I've also slightly changed the way I purl, like the way I move my fingers to purl, and I think that's really helped. But look at how neat that is. I am so pleased. It is so neat. And so what I've done is that, I can show you because it's still on the other sock. I've been using DPNs for the heel flap and the heel turn. And so I'm using, when I knit, I'm on 2.5, and when I purl, I'm on 2 millimeters, like 2.0. So that seems to have worked quite well for that. I will try that on my next pair of socks just to make sure it wasn't like, I don't know, stroke of luck. But yeah, I think I have found my way of having an even looking heel flap, which I'm very pleased about because again, it doesn't really matter that much, but I want to be able to do it. It's just for me. So yeah. So yeah, that is my third and final work in progress. I am also working actively on these because I would like to cast on another pair of socks for my mum, and I need the needles. So yeah, this is also a kind of like a priority project. I mean, they're all really priority projects, but you know what I mean. I need the needles, so I need to finish those. And also, socks don't take very long to make, so I should be able to finish it quite soon, hopefully. So yes, that is my third and final work in progress. And I am now going to move on to acquisitions. If that's not your gem, that's absolutely fine. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. But if you're interested, there we go. So I only have a couple. Like I said, I went to Dublin. Part of the reason why I went to Dublin was for the Dublin Fiber Festival, which was really nice. It was really nice. I really enjoyed it. It was quite small still. It's the second year that they're doing it, so obviously it's not really big yet, but it was nice for me because there's a lot of vendors from Europe, which are not necessarily easily accessible to me in the UK. So I was really, really pleased with that. And I bought a couple of bits of yarn. And so I bought these two. They're already all like wound up and everything, so they're ready to use and cast on. They're both from the same company, which is called, let me see, I'm gonna grab the label. The Woolly Chicken, which is a funny little name. I really like it. They are a yarn dyer based in Germany, which I hadn't heard of before. And they had really, really beautiful yarn. I wasn't really planning on buying that yarn, but then I saw it and I kind of fell in love, and so I bought it. The first one is this. So this is a sock set. This is a Christmas colorway. I think it's called, oh, I don't want to take it out because I don't want it to like kind of collapse, but it's called Gingerbread Love, I believe. And it is a micro stripe. So the main skein is supposed to, if you knit on like an average 64 stitches, average like gauge, I guess, it should have one stripe of the white and one stripe of the brown. The white is speckled with some pink and some green. And then the pink one is the for the cuffs and heels and toes. I went to Dublin with my friend Rebecca of Journey Through Yarn, and she also bought that sock set. So we will knit on that together in December, and we will have a matching pair of socks. And then that same yarn dyer had a yarn that I had been looking for quite a while. So you might remember me saying that that my mom had asked me to make her a pair of socks in a yarn that I'd used in the past, and that yarn was a blend of 80%? Yeah, 80% merino, 20% silk. She has a pair of socks made in a yarn that is in that base. She absolutely loves them. She's asked for another one, and I just couldn't find it anymore. It seemed that this was not really a base that yarn dyers were using anymore. But the Woolly Chicken had it, so I just jumped on it. They had this one skein. I don't know if they had others. I just saw this blue color and thought that my mom would love it, and so I just bought it. It's really, really nice. You can see maybe on the screen that it has a bit of a sheen from the silk. And I'm really looking forward to knitting with it, especially this is 100 grams, so I have definitely enough to make one pair of socks for my mom, and also I will have enough to make a pair for me possibly if I use a contrasting something for, I don't know, maybe the cuff or the toe or something, just to make sure I have enough. But yeah, I have decided on a pattern for that. I think my Christmas socks are just going to be vanilla socks, so something very nice and easy. For this, I am going to use a pattern, and this pattern was really, really kindly gifted to me by a viewer, and it's called the Riverbank Socks, and it's by, this person goes by the Knitting Burrow on Instagram and Ravelry and maybe YouTube, I don't know. And yeah, so it's a beautiful, I'll put a picture on the screen. It's a nice, simple sock, but it has a little cable detail along the side of the foot, which I think is super pretty. And I showed it to my mom, she really likes it. So I'm gonna knit that pattern with this yarn. And the designer of the pattern has been really, really kind and is offering to gift one of you a copy of the pattern as well. So if you would like to win that, then please leave a comment in the, leave a comment below, and maybe put the word river in it somewhere, just so that I can search when I select, when I pick a winner, like I can use that and I can filter out the people who might not be interested, which is fine. So yeah, if you would like to win that really lovely sock pattern, just leave a comment down below. Write whatever you want, but make sure there's the word river in it at some point so I can find your comment easily, and then I will announce the winner in my next episode, and then we'll get you in touch with the designer and she can send you the pattern. So yeah, so I'm really, really looking forward to doing this. This is what I would like to cast on after I finish my purple socks, which is what I need, because I need those needles, and I would like to be able to send this to my mom before Christmas along with the white socks that I was showing earlier. And yeah, I would like to just send that before Christmas ideally, so I really want to finish those other socks so I can get the needles and start on this. So yeah, I don't know, because I was interrupted with the cat, I have no idea how long I've been going on. I feel like maybe not that long. But yeah, that's all I have to say for today. Once again, if you want stitch markers, the shop is open now. You can place your orders now. If you want them before Christmas, or if you want to be as sure as we can possibly be that you receive them before Christmas, I would recommend shopping this shop update as opposed to waiting for the next one. The next one will be the last one of the year. There will be quite a few changes to the shop and my professional life in general in 2026, but things are still a bit uncertain, so I will talk about this later. It's quite exciting, but I will talk about this later. And yeah, until next time, thank you so much for watching and happy knitting. Bye!